Now, the next topic is greatest integer function. E part, greatest integer function. Now, we denote greatest integer function by GIF, denoted by square brackets. Okay. Now, greatest integer function is also called as step function. Greatest integer function is also called as step function. Greatest integer function is also called as step function. Now let me explain this to you. Okay. What you understand by greatest integer function is that every value will lie between or including two integers. Every value will lie between or including two integers. For example, if someone asks me, what can you tell about 7.9? Now I know that 7.9 lies between and including 7 to 8. So, if someone asks what is the greatest integer of 7.9, my answer is 7. So, the lowest integer will be the answer for the greatest integer function. If someone tells me what is the greatest integer function of 9.04, I know that 9.04 will lie between 9 and 10, and the small value is going to be 9. If we take an example, what is the greatest integer function of minus 6.43? Now, understand this. I know that minus 6.43 lies between minus 6 and minus 7, and the smaller value, the smaller integer is going to be minus 7. So greatest integer function is any value that lies between और इंक्लूडिंग द लोएस्ट वैल्यू बिटवीन टू इंटीजर्स. तो दो इंटीजर के बीच में जो छोटा इंटीजर होगा दैट विल बी द आंसर. इफ समवन टेल्स अस कि व्हाट इज द ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर फंक्शन ऑफ 0.43, अब आई कैन नो दैट अच्छा सम व्हाट इज द ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर ऑफ 1.00. अब आई विल शो इट लाइक दिस कि 1 lies between 1 and 2 and the chota value is going to be 1. So greatest integer, anything on the left side, when you look at the question, anything on the left side is the decimal value. Basically any number is a combination of your integer plus your fraction. Any number that you write is a combination of integer plus fraction. Integer gives us the greatest integer function, and then we do the fractional part, which will basically deal with all the terms that are going to be after the decimal. Now for example, we always denote it like this. As I told you, greatest integer function will be less than equal to x. Less than equal to x. 6.43 का greatest integer is less than, अभी if I take x plus 6.43, so I will write 6.43 is less than equal to 6.43. 6.43 का greatest integer is 4. 6. 6 is less than equal to 6.43. Of course it is less. And this satisfies the condition. And my relation is x, greatest integer function of x is less than equal to x. तो greatest integer याद रखो, कोई भी नंबर है वो हमेशा दो इंटीजर के बीच में लाई करेगा. जो भी छोटा वैल्यू रहेगा वो मेरा आंसर रहेगा फॉर द इंटीजर. जो भी छोटा इंटीजर होगा दैट विल बी द आंसर फॉर ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर फंक्शन. It is also called as greatest integer function is called as a step function. Now, if I take an example, this is very important. कि x minus 1. Okay, x minus, take any value of x. In your mind, you can take any value of x. Any value of x. x minus 1 will always be less than the greatest integer function of x, which will be less than equal to x. Take any example of your choice. As I told you, let's take 6.43. 6.43 minus 1 will give you 5.43. Is less than equal to 6.43 का greatest integer is 6. Obviously it is less than 6. Less than equal to 6.43, and it will always satisfy the condition. Always. As I told you, let's take example is, let's take the same example. X has 6.43. So I will get 6.43 minus 1 less than greatest integer of 6.43, less than equal to 6.43. 6.43 minus 1 will give you 5.43, is less than 6, is less than equal to 6.43. If you pay attention, this indeed satisfies the condition. This satisfies the condition. Take any example of your choice. Any example of your choice. You can substitute the value. So now I have understood that this is called as a step function. बहुत important point है. This is called as a step function. You can take any example. हम जो भी नंबर दिया रहेगा नंबर लाइन, इट विल ऑलवेज लाई बिटवीन टू इंटीजर्स, और जो छोटा इंटीजर है वो मेरा हमेशा आंसर रहेगा. हमेशा मेरा आंसर छोटा इंटीजर रहेगा. If I put this x का value 6.43, this will become 6.43 minus 1 is less than 6.43 का greatest integer is less than equal to 6.43, and this satisfies the condition. If I have to draw a graph for it, okay, say for example, if I have to draw a graph for it, if I have to draw a graph of, say for example, my question is this is y is equal to f of x, which is nothing but the greatest integer function of x. Y is equal to f of x, which is nothing but a greatest integer function of x. Y is equal to f of x, which is nothing but greatest integer function of x. Now, if I take any value, सबसे पहले, if 0 less than equal to x less than 1, उसका मतलब क्या होता है? Let me explain this to you. I'll take any value between 0 and 1. Take any value between 0 and 1. उसका आंसर हमेशा 0 होगा. Example, 0.1 greatest integer is 0, 0.2 0, 0.3 0, 0.99 0, 0.56 0. Greatest integer is 0 because all the numbers that you take between 0 and 1, the lowest integer is always going to be 0. So I got the answer as 0. Next, if I take any value between 1 to 2, my greatest integer would be 1. If I take any value between 2 to 3, can you tell me what is the greatest integer? 2. If I take any value between 3 and 4, what is the greatest integer? 3. Let's take a negative value. So for example, एक काम करते हैं, इसके बाद हम negative ले लेते हैं. If I take any value between -2 and -1, can you tell me what will be the greatest integer? We'll start with 0. 0 तक था ना. If I take any value between -1 and 0, can you tell me what is the answer? -1. If I take any value between -2 and -1, my answer will be -2. So we have done all the values. We have taken value जिसका आंसर 0 आता है because 0 is neither positive nor negative. We have taken 2 positive examples and we have taken 2 negative examples. Anybody has any doubts? How do we plot this? Plotting is very important because this is how I'm going to plot the graph. This is my graph. Okay. This is my graph. कि इसको ग्राफ को प्लॉट कैसे करेंगे? Because we have taken 2 positive values, we have taken 2 negative values, and we have this answer. If I plot this graph, okay, Say for example, I'm plotting this graph. Okay. सबसे पहले if I take any value, मैंने यहां से स्टार्ट किया, 0 से 1 तक गया, 0 से 1. See, this is bullet and this is hollow. So if I take any value between 0 and 1, my answer is going to be 0. ये 1 है, ये 2 है, ये ले लिया. Guys, if I take any value, और ये 3 है, 0 से 1 का आंसर 0 आ गया. If I take any value from 1 to 2, देखो 0 से ये 0 है. If I take any value from 1 to 2, my answer is going to be 1. If I take any value from 2 to 3, my answer is going to be 2. Did you guys understand this? मैं 0 से 1 के बीच में कोई भी वैल्यू लिया, उसका आंसर 0 रहेगा. मैंने 1 to 2 के बीच में कोई भी वैल्यू लिया, उसका आंसर 1 रहेगा. मैंने 2 से 3 के कोई भी वैल्यू लिया, मेरा आंसर 2 रहेगा. लेट्स डू ऑन द नेगेटिव. अब नेगेटिव में यू हैव टू बी अ लिटिल केयरफुल, ना थोड़ा उल्टा हो जाएगा. अब उल्टा कैसा होगा देखो, 0 to -1 के बीच में, ये -1 है, 0 to -1 के बीच में कोई भी वैल्यू लेंगे हम लोग, तो माई आंसर वुड बी -1. एंड यहाँ पे -2 ले लिया, यहाँ पे -2 ले लिया, एंड -2 और 1 के -1 के बीच में कोई भी वैल्यू ले लिया तो मेरा -2 रहेगा. बट यहाँ पे तो लिखा है स्टेप फंक्शन. If you pay attention carefully, look at this. It forms a step. So that is why greatest integer function is called as a step function. So step function, it is not a continuous function. अगर ध्यान से रखोगे तो 0 और 1 के बाद वो continuous नहीं होगा, वो ब्रेक हो रहा है, हर इंटीजर पे ब्रेक हो रहा है. It is breaking for all integer. It is breaking at 0, it is breaking at 1, it is breaking at 2, it is breaking at -1, it is breaking at -2, it is breaking at each and every integer. And since it is breaking at each and every integer, we call it as a step function. This is the greatest integer function. Okay, now you can, if you don't want to draw the step, that's fine, that's up to you. Okay, there are certain properties, very important properties of greatest integer function. Now सबसे पहला, x minus 1 less than equal to greatest integer function of x less than equal to x. We had written, again we are writing, since they are properties, x minus 1 less than greatest integer function of x less than equal to x. Now imagine x के साथ मैंने कोई भी इंटीजर ले लिया, x plus I, x plus 3, x plus 4, x plus 5, x minus 3, x minus 4, x minus 5, x के साथ कोई भी इंटीजर वैल्यू ले लिया. If I have taken any integer value along with x, I repeat again, if I have taken any integer value along with x, and अगर मुझे इसका ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर फंक्शन निकालना है, I have the luxury कि I can throw out the integer anytime, because वो पहले से इंटीजर है, उसको ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर में डाल के वो चेंज नहीं होने वाला है. तो इंटीजर है, x plus 3 का ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर है 3 आउटसाइड, तो ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर फंक्शन ऑफ x plus 3, x plus 10 दिया है, greatest integer function of x plus 10 will become greatest integer function of x plus 10. You want to write it in the bracket, you can, but greatest integer function of 10 is going to be 10. So we are not going to substitute greatest integer function of 10 ka value, it is going to be like this. Now third part, a very important part, x plus greatest integer function of x minus x, sorry, greatest integer function of x plus minus x. Now this is where I have to understand कि if I take an example, take any example of your choice, x का कोई भी value, कोई भी in your mind, decimal value, x का take any decimal value in your mind, can you tell me इसका आंसर क्या रहेगा? -1. Are you sure? think basic. Take x ka any value of your choice, a decimal value of your choice, substitute it here and tell me what is the answer that you guys will get. Anyone? What will you get the answer as? -1. Sure. Paka. What if I take x as 0? What if I take x as 0? What is the answer that you get? What is the greatest integer function of 0? 0. What is the greatest function of -0? 0. What is 0 plus 0? So you are going to get two answers. Take, when I told you, take x ka any value, that is a decimal. We had the luxury of, we can write it like this. See this. Sabse pehla, what I can do is, if I take x ka value as 0, it will become greatest integer function of 0. -0 करके कुछ होता नहीं है. So this will become 0 plus 0, which is 0. Second part, I'll take x ka value as 1.3. Greatest integer function of 1.3 plus minus greatest integer function of 1.3. 1 plus minus 2, that is -1. So this will have, at any given point of time, this will have two values. It will be either 0 or 1. So remember this, depending on what data is given, guys. Depending on what data is given, we understand whether it is the greatest integer function. Will it satisfy the condition? Will it not satisfy the condition? कि x का value 0 है, x का value positive है, negative है. You can take -1.32. If you take -1.3, you will still get the same answer. You will still get the same answer, that is -1. Now, fourth property. Okay. Fourth property is greatest integer function of x is less than equal to x is less than equal to greatest integer function of x plus 1. Greatest integer function of x is less than greatest integer function of x is less than equal to greatest integer function of x plus 1. Less than equal to नहीं होना चाहिए. My mistake. less than equal to आएगा. Next property. Greatest integer function of x plus greatest integer function of y is less than equal to greatest integer function of x plus y less than greatest integer function of x, greatest integer function of y plus 1. A very, very, very important property. You can verify it by taking x and y ka any example. Take x and y ka any example. Take x as 1.3, take y as 2.3. You substitute here. Then you substitute here. ये सबसे बड़ा वैल्यू क्योंकि इसमें +1 है. तो अगर इसका आंसर 10 आएगा, इसका आंसर 11 आएगा. इसका आंसर -1 है तो इसका आंसर 0 आएगा. तो ये हमेशा बड़ा रहेगा ऑब्वियसली क्योंकि +1 आ गया. यू आर एडिंग एन इंटीजर टू द आंसर. ये दोनों सेम ही है. इसके पास +1 है तो ये हमेशा बड़ा रहेगा. बट ये दोनों सेम हो सकता है. 1.3 और 2.3 ले लिया. 1.3 विल बिकम 1. यहाँ पे एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं. लेट्स टेक x as 1.3 and take y as 2.3. If I substitute here 1.3 का greatest integer plus 2.3 का greatest integer is less than equal to 1.3 plus 2.3 is less than 1.3 का greatest integer plus 2.3 का greatest integer plus 1. This will become 1 plus 2 less than equal to greatest integer function of, this will become 3.6 less than 1 plus 2 plus 1. 3 less than equal to 3 less than 4. It is satisfying. Take any example of your choice. Take two integer questions where I put x as 1.3, I put y as 2.3. This is the value that I substitute, and these are the properties that we need to understand to be able to solve. Now, since we are doing with greatest integer, I told you one thing very important कि any term 10.00 9.86 99.99 any value any number let's take an example of 92.68 this is a real number any number of your choice. This is a combination of greatest integer, that is the integer. It is a combination of integer and fraction. The first part is your integer, this is your integer, and this is your fraction. So we just finished the integer part. इसीलिए ना when I took an example, say for example 1.3 का integer, it lies between two integers. The lowest value is always taken as the greatest integer. It belongs to that family. 1.3 belongs to the family of 1. Therefore, it is called as a greatest integer function. And now, since we made the graph of it here, the step function graph, a very, very important function. This is the step function. Where if I have to ask you guys, okay, देखो, here step function में यहाँ पे, my domain. Can anyone tell me what will be the domain for greatest integer? Domain क्या रहेगा बताओ? Integers. All real numbers. I can use any value x का. Domain will be all real numbers. I can use any value. Can you tell me what will be the range? Integers. Range will be integers. So domain is all real numbers and range is integers. So now I have understood for greatest integer function, my domain is going to be all real numbers. मैं x की जगह कुछ भी डाल सकता हूँ. x की जगह I can take 1.11 also. But my answer will always be an integer. It means that I can take any value of x, but the value of y will always be an integer. It will never be any value with a decimal. That is the concept of greatest integer function. Now, when we shift our focus to the fractional part, okay, when we shift our focus to the fractional part. Now, greatest integer function, it is denoted by square bracket. Fractional part is denoted by curly bracket, and they'll always mention in all the questions कि whenever there is a square bracket given, they will always follow it with where this denote the square bracket denote GIF, that is greatest integer function. अगर कोई क्वेश्चन में कर्ली ब्रैकेट आ गया उसके बाद फॉलो होता है वेट कर्ली ब्रैकेट रिप्रेजेंट्स द फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. मेंशन किया है, अगर मेंशन नहीं किया है so we never consider it as a greatest integer or fractional part. So every question in any book that you refer, if there is a curly bracket and if they have not mentioned anything, मतलब it is a normal bracket. But curly bracket या round square bracket दिया है, then it means that उसके बाद definition दिया है कि this denotes greatest integer, this denotes fractional. It means that you have to follow the concept of greatest integer and you have to follow the concept of fractional part. Now, if we start with the fractional part, okay, fractional part. Let's start with fractional part. Examples. Directly start with an example. If I have the example of 9.68, can you tell me what is the fractional part here? 0.68. So my answer is 0.68. 10.00. What is the fractional part? 0. Minus 1.34.
Minus 0.34.
माइनस है, जब भी माइनस होगा माइनस है यहाँ पे. अच्छा, इसका ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर क्या होगा? -2. फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट में दिस इज द ओनली थिंग दैट वी डू फॉर ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर इन फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट. सिंस देयर इज अ माइनस साइन गाइस, ऑल आई एम गोइंग टू डू, व्हाट यू सेड इज करेक्ट, -0.34, बट हम उसको 1 से माइनस करेंगे. एंड जैसे ही मैंने इसको 1 से माइनस किया, this became 0.66. This is your fractional part. Whenever there is a negative sign, what we do is we subtract the fractional part from 1, and whatever is the answer, that is going to be my fractional part. Have you guys understood this? Any doubts here? No. Can you guys tell me इसका domain क्या होगा? What are the values of x that I can take for fractional part? I can take any number. I can take any number. So domain is going to be all real numbers. Can you tell me what is the range? Come on, think and tell me. What is the range?
0 to 1.
All integers. Fractional part में integer आंसर आएगा क्या? नहीं. Non integers. मतलब
0 to 1. 0 is square bracket, 1 is round bracket.
my answer will never become 1. It can become 0. बट मेरा आंसर हमेशा डेसिमल रहेगा. फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट मतलब आंसर फ्रैक्शन रहेगा. और फ्रैक्शन कहाँ से कहाँ तक रहता है? फ्रैक्शन इज ऑलवेज लेस देन 1, बिकॉज इफ इट बिकम्स 1, then fraction is no longer a fraction, it becomes an integer. So 0.9999 is a fraction. But is 1 a fraction? 1 is not a fraction, 1 is an integer. 1 का fractional part क्या है?
0.
1 का 10 का fractional part क्या है? 0. तो 0 आ सकता है आंसर. बट 1 इंटीजर कभी नहीं आएगा, और 1 से ज्यादा तो आएगा ही नहीं. कोई बोलेगा fractional part is 0.2, चलेगा. 1.2 का fractional part क्या है? 0.2. 11.2 का फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट क्या है? 0.2. 1 is 100 times 1. 0.12 का फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट क्या रहेगा? 0.12. मतलब my answer will never even reach 1. It can start from 0, but it will never reach 1. It will stop. मतलब 1 आने के पहले वो रुक जाएगा, because I cannot become an integer, because I am a fractional. I'm a fractional part. And since I am a fractional part, I can go as close as 0.999 as 1009 आ सकता है, but it can never be rounded off to 1. This is the fractional part. Okay. Now, formula for that. As I told you, see this. As I told you, any number is a combination of greatest integer plus fractional part. Any number, x का value लेते हैं 63.49. So I will write 63.49 is nothing but greatest integer of 63 plus 49 plus fractional part of 63.49. Greatest integer of 63.49 is 63 plus fractional point of 63.49 is 0.49. और guys अगर दोनों को ऐड कर दिया, I will get 63.49. So any number that you have seen on the number line is always going to be a combination of greatest integer plus fractional part. Every real number is a combination of greatest integer plus fractional part. Integer plus fraction makes your normal number. Has everybody understood this? If I convert into decimal, वो हमेशा ही रहेगा. And this, my friends, is a very important formula. So greatest integer function of x plus fractional part of x is going to satisfy this, where my domain and range, I know that my domain is all real numbers and my range is going to be R. Okay. अब यार, obviously, since we have done this and since we have made the graph, इसका ग्राफ easy, fractional part का graph. See, we have written the domain. We have written the domain here. We have written the range here. I know how fractional part looks like. I know the formula for a fractional part. I know that fractional part, when I took a random example, I just showed that using this formula, it is satisfying that every number is a combination of greatest integer plus fractional part. अब मुझे बनाना है ग्राफ. सबसे बेस्ट पार्ट क्या है? मुझे पता है मेरा y रेंज मतलब y विल बी बिटवीन 0 to 1. डोमेन तो रियल नंबर्स तक जाएगा, but range will be from 0 to 1. Now let me explain this. Okay. Now let me explain this. ये देखो, I have taken this as 1 2 3, ये ले लिया 1 2, इसको ले लिया -1 -2 एंड दिस इज -1 -2 -3. ठीक है. If I do 2 also, you'll just understand this. This is my, obviously everyone knows that this is my y-axis and this is my x-axis. This is y dash, y, x and x dash. I am starting at 0. 0 से लेकर 1 तक का, remember this. 0 से यहाँ पे I am standing at 0. यहाँ पे खड़ा हूँ मैं, यहां इसके बीच में मैं कोई भी वैल्यू लूं, मैं कोई भी वैल्यू लूं, मेरा आंसर 0 ही आएगा. 0.1 का ग्रेटेस्ट फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट 0.1 दोनों के बीच में लाएगा. देखो यहां से लेकर 1 नहीं बनेगा कभी. 1 से 2 के बीच में my answer will be from 0 to 1. देखो, look at this. I'll take 1.2. 1.2 का greatest integer. I'll mark this like this. See this. I'll mark this. See. किसी ने बोल दिया कि 1.2 ले लेते हैं. ये 1.2 है. Can you tell me 1.2 का आंसर क्या रहेगा यहाँ पे? Between 0 and 1. इसको 1.2 ले लिया. इसको 1.2 ले लिया. गाइस 1.2 का आंसर विल इट बी बिटवीन 0 to 1? यस. कोई और वैल्यू लेते हैं. यहां से स्टार्ट किया, यहां तक गया. टू 2.9 ले लिया. 2.9 भी यहां तक जाएंगे, बट मेरा आंसर कभी 1 भी नहीं बनेगा. ये देखो यहाँ पे हॉलो क्यों दिया है? बिकॉज ये दोनों के बीच में कहीं पे भी आंसर आ सकते हैं, बट वो 1 कभी नहीं आएगा. And when I start from 1 2 3, this is how my answer is going to be. Has everybody understood this? But on the opposite side, this will become a little inverted. अब inverted क्यों होगा? देखो same thing. My diagram is going to be the same. What I know is ये यहाँ छोटा छोटा बन जाएगा. तो अगर मैं ये एग्जाम्पल लेता हूँ, -2 से लेकर यहाँ पे जाएगा. देखो 1 कभी नहीं बनेगा, इतना याद रखो. यहाँ से जाके 1 कभी नहीं बनेगा और यहाँ से जाके ये भी 1 कभी नहीं बनेगा. सो दिस इज द ग्राफ ऑफ फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट. दिस इज माय फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट. कि तो कोई भी नंबर ले लो. ये 0, इसको 0 नहीं डालें, यहाँ पे 0 डाल देते. कोई भी नंबर लो, रियल नंबर, कोई भी रियल नंबर लो, मेरा आंसर हमेशा 0 और 1 के बीच में होगा. दैट इज वाई दिस इज माई रेंज. वो 1 भी नहीं बन रहा, इसलिए ना मैंने ऊपर जहाँ पे 1 लिखा है वहाँ पे हॉलो है. हॉलो मतलब राउंड ब्रैकेट. राउंड ब्रैकेट मतलब दैट वैल्यू विल नॉट बी इंक्लूडेड. बुलेट मतलब दैट विल बी इंक्लूडेड. इसलिए 0 इंक्लूड हो रहा है. बिकॉज इफ यू लुक एट दिस एग्जाम्पल, 10.00 का फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट इज गोइंग टू बी 0. तो 0 आ सकता है, फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट 0 बन सकता है, बट फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट कभी इंटीजर नहीं बन सकता. दैट्स वाई एवरी रियल नंबर इज अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ इंटीजर प्लस fraction. Did you guys understand this? As we wrote the properties of greatest integer function, we have the properties of fractional part. Okay. Now, properties of fractional part. Properties of fractional part. Properties of fractional part. सबसे पहले फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट 0 तब रहेगा व्हेन x इज एन इंटीजर. x इज इक्वल टू 10.00. इंटीजर है, उसका फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट हमेशा 0 रहेगा. 0 मतलब रॉन्ग आंसर नहीं है, परफेक्ट आंसर है. सो फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट तब 0 बनेगा गाइस जब मेरा x का वैल्यू एक इंटीजर होगा. सेकेंड पार्ट, fractional part of x minus x will become 1 minus fractional part of x. जैसे मैंने बोला था, let's take this example. -1.34 1 minus fractional part of 0.34. Basically, if I take x as 6.43, so ऐसा बोला कि what is the fractional part of minus 6.43? I will write 1 minus fractional part of 6.43, which will become 1 minus 0.43, and 1 minus 0.3 will become 0.57. This is your fractional part. And fractional part tells us कि अगर फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट, अगर नंबर के आगे नेगेटिव है, कुछ नहीं करना है, फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट को 1 से सब्ट्रैक्ट कर दो. अगर डेसिमल है तो उसको फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट को 1 से सब्ट्रैक्ट कर दो. दैट्स इट, दैट्स ऑल दैट इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर यू गाइस. नेक्स्ट, अच्छा चलो, वी हैड रिटन दिस. नाउ आई वांट यू गाइस टू टेल मी कि इसका आंसर क्या होगा. फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट ऑफ x प्लस फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट ऑफ माइनस x. What do you think would be the answer? Fractional part of x plus fractional part of minus x. What will be the answer? इसका भी दो आंसर है. And इसका दो आंसर क्या रहेगा, कोई बताएगा? This will give you 0. 1 आएगा क्या? 1. 0 कब आएगा, 1 कब आएगा? 0 जब आएगा when x is equal to integer. And 1 कब आएगा? When x not equal to integer. Basically x belongs to integer आएगा, and यहाँ पे x does not belong to integer. Did you guys understand this? So x belongs to integer and x not belong to integer. Now, property 4th, fractional part of x plus I. ठीक है, fractional part of x plus I को fractional part entertain नहीं करेगा. fractional part को I entertain करेगा ही नहीं, क्योंकि I का कोई काम ही नहीं है फ्रैक्शन पार्ट में. फ्रैक्शन पार्ट मतलब फ्रैक्शन, इंटीजर को कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं समझता फ्रैक्शन का, तो वो ना उसको उठा के फेंक देते हैं. उसको उठा के फेंक देगा. एग्जाम्पल, किसी ने बोला यार व्हाट इज द फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट ऑफ x प्लस 3. फ्रैक्शन पार्ट बोलेगा 3 का कुछ काम ही नहीं है भाई, फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट इज x. एग्जाम्पल, चलो मैंने x का वैल्यू 100 ले लिया, 100.6 ले लिया. गाइस 100.6 प्लस 3 कितना हो जाएगा, चलो कैलकुलेट करते हैं. 100.6 प्लस 3 का आंसर कितना रहेगा, टोटल करके प्लस कर दिया तो उसका फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट क्या रहेगा? वो तो इधर ही आ रहा है डायरेक्ट. 3 का कुछ काम ही नहीं है. तो अगर समझो मैंने 3 को फेंक दिया बाहर, तो हो जाएगा 100.6 एंड फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट ऑफ 100.6 इज व्हाट? 0.6. वो तो मेरे को 3 के बिना आ रहा है. सो फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट में याद रखो गाइस, फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट में इंटीजर का कोई काम नहीं होता, एकदम यूजलेस बन जाता है इंटीजर इन फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट. जैसे कि इंटीजर में फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट, ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर में फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट का कुछ काम नहीं होता, सो फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता. वो सिर्फ बताता है कि दो इंटीजर के बीच में लाई कर रहे. फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट में इंटीजर का कोई काम नहीं होता है. फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट में इंटीजर का कोई काम नहीं होता. तो किसी ने बोला कि ग्रेटेस्ट फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट ऑफ x प्लस 100, 100 काम ही नहीं, 100 को बाहर फेंक दिया, तो माय आंसर विल बिकम फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट ऑफ 100. हैव यू गाइस अंडरस्टूड दिस? एनीबॉडी हैज एनी डाउट्स हियर? सो एंड सिंस यू आर राइटिंग, सब लोग ये क्वेश्चन ट्राई करेंगे. फॉर फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट ऑफ x प्लस इज इक्वल टू x plus greatest integer function of x, find the value of x. Find the value of x. This is how we are going to solve this out, where we find the value of x. Okay. Now let's start with this. When we start, 4 into fractional part of x is equal to x into greatest integer function of x. Okay. Now, if I have to solve this, 4 into x, say for example, if I'm substituting this, according to the formula, as we know this formula, x is equal to greatest integer function of x plus fractional part of x. And if I have to substitute here, the formula is x is equal to greatest integer function of x plus fractional part of x. For me, now if I substitute the value, this will become x minus greatest integer function of x is equal to x plus greatest integer function of x. If I open the bracket, this will become 4x minus 4 greatest integer function of x is equal to x plus greatest integer function of x. 4x minus x is equal to greatest integer function of x plus 4 into greatest integer function of x. So 3x is equal to 5 into greatest integer function of x. So x will become 5 by 3 greatest integer function of x. Now, pay attention. LHS और RHS कब इक्वल होगा? For what value of x will LHS be equal to RHS? सबसे पहले, if I take x as 0, what will the left hand side become?
0.
And right hand side?
0.
0. So it satisfies the condition. Tell me the second value. Tell me the second value of x where it will satisfy the condition. Think. Tell me the second value of x that will satisfy the condition. Now,
Less than 1.
less than 1. Are you sure? Because if you take less than 1, if I take 0.9, this will become 0.9. This will become 0. Is 0.9 less than 0? It's not satisfying. बोलो, याद रखो तुम लोग जो वैल्यू यहाँ पे सब्स्टिट्यूट करोगे वो यहाँ पे भी सब्स्टिट्यूट करेंगे और मेरे को आंसर आ जाएगा. तो व्हाट शुड बी द वैल्यू? बिकॉज दिस इज अ नॉर्मल एक्स. If now someone said कि we can take all integer, we can check for 1, check 2, 1 पे check करते हैं. ये तो 1 हो गया. ये 5/3. 1 cannot be equal to 5/3. I'll take 2. How will you solve? देखो ध्यान से. Pay attention. Can you guys tell me when will x be equal to 5/3? When will x be equal to 5/3? When this value is 1. Okay. If I take x का value as 5/3, if I take x का value as 5/3, left hand side क्या बन जाएगा? 5/3 is equal to 5/3 into what is the greatest integer function of 5/3?
1.
तो क्या बन जाएगा आंसर? Did you understand this? If I put x का value as 5/3, this will become 5/3 is equal to 5/3 into 1. Is LHS equal to RHS? नहीं समझा? Have you guys understood this? If I pick, that is why ना ये greatest integer function है. तो अगर ये 1 बनेगा और ये 1 कभी बनेगा? जब x 5/3 बनेगा. अब x 5/3 कभी बनेगा? अगर मैंने x का वैल्यू 5/3 ले लिया. If I take this as इसका आंसर 1 है, मतलब this can have any value from 1 to 2. अब इसका आंसर 1 कभी बनेगा? अब 5/3 is also a term that will give you the greatest integer value as 1. So if I take x value as 5/3, LHS will be equal to RHS. Did you guys understand this? How many of you have not understood this? Have you guys understood? Okay, sure. Now, a very important question. Okay, everyone will just follow. Find the number of solution find the number of solution of the equation. Find the number of solution of the equation 4 into greatest integer function of x cube minus x plus 8 greatest integer function of x square is equal to 13 plus 2 greatest integer function of cos x. LHS is equal to RHS. Given. You have to find out number of solutions. Basically, how many values of x will I get? Let's discuss this question, guys. Tell me the first one. They have said, find the number of solution of the equation 4x cube minus x plus 8x square plus 13 plus 2 cos x. Now, can you tell me anything about the LHS and RHS? Can you tell me anything about the LHS and RHS? Something very different, something that you observe. It might be a very basic thing. But is there anything you can tell me about the LHS and RHS?
Cos x value will be between -1 and 1.
Okay. So, something very basic on the left hand side and the right hand side. Come on. Left hand side is even. Right hand side is odd. And in mathematics, even number cannot be equal to an odd number. Hence my answer is no solution. You cannot even start with the sum, because this is defying the rule of mathematics, where left hand side is actually an even number and right hand side is an odd number. So even will not be equal to odd, hence we cannot solve this question. Hence the question we cannot initiate solving the question. You will get stuck, because you cannot compare a left term that is even to a right term that is odd. As he said कि cos x का highest value is 1 ले लो, 13 plus 2 is 15, even odd. And यहाँ पे अगर मैंने x का कोई भी वैल्यू ले लिया, that into 4 plus that into 8, basically into even plus even plus even is equal to even, odd plus odd is equal to odd. Therefore, an even is equal to odd possible नहीं है. Hence the answer will be no solution. Did you understand this? And a lot of people will solve this sum. A lot of people will solve this sum and waste at least 4 to 5 minutes solving the sum. Jabki the sum should not take more than 3 seconds. You just have to look at the question. LHS cannot be equal to RHS, hence the question you cannot even try to solve the first step, because हम लोग अगर solve कर रहे हैं तो I'm basically solving even number with odd numbers, and 1 cannot be equal to 2, 3 cannot be equal to 4, 5 cannot be equal to 6, 2x cannot be equal to 3x, no matter what the value of x is, because अगर x कट गया, because x 0 रहेगा तभी satisfy करेगा. यहाँ पे अगर 0 भी डाला उल्टा और satisfy नहीं करेगा. This will become 0. ये अगर 0 रहेगा, this will become 0. ये 0 हो जाएगा, ये 0 हो जाएगा, this will become 0, and this will become 13 plus 2, 15. I just proved 0 is equal to 15. Possible नहीं है. 0 cannot be equal to 15. Hence, there is no solution for this. Now, a very important question. The set of real values of x satisfying greatest integer function of 3 by x plus greatest integer function of 4 by x is equal to 5 belongs to round bracket a comma bc square bracket, where a comma b comma c belong to natural numbers. B comma c is in the lowest form. B comma c in the lowest form. Then find A plus B plus C plus ABC. Find A plus B plus C is equal to ABC. इसमें आंसर आएगा, ठीक है. 3/x plus 4/x is equal to 5. It belongs in the part. Now, सबसे पहले, okay, look at the question. Sorry, I'll write it here. 3/x greatest integer, 4/x is equal to 5. Can you guys tell me when will the sum of natural number, listen carefully to what I'm asking, when will the sum of natural number be equal to 5? Something plus something should be equal to 5. When is it possible? What are the conditions? What is the first condition? 1, 4, 2, 3. Next 3, 2 and 4, 1. Sum is equal to 5. Sum is equal to 5. मतलब this should be equal to 1. अगर मैं सिंप्लीफाई करता हूँ तो दिस एंटायर पार्ट शुड बी 1, दिस एंटायर पार्ट शुड बी 4, एंड अगर वो सेटिस्फाई करेगा तो वो इक्वल टू 5 रहेगा. दिस इज द एक्चुअल बिगिनिंग ऑफ द सम, वेयर सम ऑफ टू नंबर शुड बी इक्वल टू 5. देन टू नंबर क्या हो सकता है? इट कैन बी 1 4, इट कैन बी 2 3, इट कैन बी 3 2, and it can be 4 and 1. Have you guys understood this? What is the first term that we have written, guys? 3/x. Let's start with the first one. Okay, first part लेते हैं. क्या will take greatest integer function of 3/x is equal to 1. Now guys, ये 1 कभी बनेगा? When it lies between, समझा? ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर फंक्शन अगर मैं सॉल्व कर रहा हूँ, डिड यू गाइज अंडरस्टैंड दिस? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू नॉट अंडरस्टूड दिस? 3/x का कोई भी वैल्यू अगर 3/x को मैंने सॉल्व किया, इफ इट लाइज बिटवीन 1 and 2, तो उसका ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर क्या होगा? इट विल बी 1. नाउ अगर मैंने इसको इन्वर्स कर दिया, सो दिस विल बिकम, इसको इन्वर्स कर दिया, ठीक है, मैंने इसको इन्वर्स कर दिया, सो दिस विल बिकम 1 लेस देन इक्वल टू x/3 लेस देन 2, सो दिस विल बिकम 3 लेस देन इक्वल टू x लेस देन 6. दिस इज द आंसर दैट आई गॉट. कैन यू टेल मी सेकेंड, इसका सेकेंड पार्ट क्या है? व्हाट इज द सेकेंड पार्ट? 4/x should be equal to what? Should be equal to what? 4. So how can I write this? When will the answer be 4? When it lies between? So 4 less than equal to 4/x less than 5. इसको इन्वर्स कर दिया, रेसिप्रोकल कर दिया, सॉरी. 1/4 less than equal to x/4 less than 1/5. And if I divide, if I multiply by 4, so this will come 1 less than equal to x less than 4/5. अब मेरे पास दो आंसर. Now I will figure out, is there a common part of it? अब I will figure out if there is a common part to it. I will figure out if there is a common part to it. अब ये है माइनस इन्फिनिटी, ये है प्लस इन्फिनिटी. दिस इज माइनस इन्फिनिटी एंड दिस इज प्लस इन्फिनिटी. ओके, सो नाउ फर्स्ट आंसर देखो कब कहाँ से कहाँ तक है? 3 6. सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट आंसर. सेकेंड आंसर इज ये 1 है एंड ये 4/5. इज देयर एनीथिंग कॉमन? डू यू सी एनीथिंग कॉमन? देयर इज नो कॉमन. Therefore first part के लिए it will be no solution for the first part. First part पे satisfy नहीं कर रहा है. You take any value between that, it will not satisfy. There is no intersection. So यहाँ पे ऐसा reason लिख दो कि there is no intersection. काम करो. No intersection. So null answer आएगा. No intersection. So basically my answer is null. Let's take the second part, guys. Okay. Again we'll solve for the same method. If I take the second part, can you tell me how will I start? Tell me. Greatest integer of 3/x should be equal to 2. कहाँ से कहाँ तक रहेगा फिर? 2 लेस देन इक्वल टू 3/x लेस देन 3. रेसिप्रोकल लेंगे तो क्या हो जाएगा? हाफ लेस देन इक्वल टू x/3 लेस देन 1. कहाँ से कहाँ तक रहेगा फिर? बोलो ना. 3 से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे 3/2 लेस देन इक्वल टू x लेस देन इक्वल टू 3. This is the first part. This is the first part of the sum. Now I will take equal to 3. So 4/x is equal to 3. Therefore 3 less than equal to 4/x less than 4. Therefore 1/3 less than equal to x/4 less than 1/4. And if I divide by 4, I'll get 4/3 less than x. 4/3 less than x. बराबर है ना? 1/3 1/4. हाँ अच्छा हाँ 1/x 4/3 less than x less than 1. अब ये ना उल्टा हो रहा है. ये ना ये उल्टा हो रहा है. कैसे? What is 4/3? What is 4 divided by 3? 1 point something. Is 1 point something less than 1? So this कभी भी ऐसा होगा ना तो you have the luxury of changing the inequality. So can you tell me how will I write that inequality? It will become, how will I change the inequality? बोलो. 1 less than x less than equal to 4/3. Did you guys understand this? Any problem here? So now ये आंसर आया और ये आंसर आया. Now let's plot. Okay, let's plot to understand कि मेरा आंसर कहाँ से कहाँ तक हो सकता है. Let's plot to understand कि मेरा आंसर कहाँ से कहाँ तक हो सकता है. Okay. देखो फर्स्ट आंसर कहाँ से 3/2 to 3 है. So I'll take here. This is minus infinity. This is infinity. I'll take 3/2. ये 3/2 है. इसको 3 ले लिया. ये देखो 3/2 3 एंड 1 से 4/3 है. इसको 1 ले लिया. इसको 4/3 ले लिया. ओके 1 ले लिया 4/3. अब देखो ये ना 3/2 इंक्लूडेड है और ये इंक्लूडेड नहीं है. 1 इंक्लूडेड नहीं है. 4/3 इंक्लूडेड. सो एक्चुअली माई आंसर इज, देखो look at where my answer is. Okay, this is my answer. My actual answer is 3/2 से लेकर 4/3 both included, but they have told us the answer is of this pattern. This pattern मतलब 3/2 से पहले कौन सा वैल्यू है जो इंक्लूडेड नहीं है. 3/2 के लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में कौन सा वैल्यू है जो इंक्लूडेड नहीं है? 1. सो आई विल राइट देयरफॉर दिस आंसर, I'll write the answer as 1 comma 4 by 3. And if I solve this, my value of A is 1, my B ka value is 4, my C ka value is 3. I have to find the value of A plus B plus C plus ABC, which is 1 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1 times 4 times 3. 12 plus 4 16 plus 4 20. So 20 is the answer where I have to find the value of A plus B plus C plus ABC. Has everybody understood this? Please write.